You know, it's like
There you
if
go.
if a friend bungee jumping jumps off the bridge first, then you're like, oh yeah, all right,
Nope.
I'll jump off as
Nope.
well. No,
Nope.
you don't just jump off of tall objects because you see your friend do it.
I'm good.
Oh, it must just
Dude,
be me then. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Conquering Content Creation, where you can follow us on our journey while we become content creators, or at least try to. So, with us today, we have on the far left there, we have Doctor, which you
Howdy.
can check him out on his Twitch. We have Skizzle in the middle, who's
yeah.
just here for the ride. And we have me, MrMemeNice, who is here for good podcast time. So yeah, this is a new thing that we've started to do. I don't know how you guys are feeling about it, but I'm pretty excited.
Pretty
Oh
hyped.
yeah.
Pretty hyped
No,
about
it's
this.
gonna be good.
But yeah, little podcast we're doing here. So the idea is that we thought we'd try and document what we're doing as we do it in terms of trying to become a content creator. And maybe some of this might be useful to people that want to try and look at starting their own attempt at becoming a content creator. I think we might as well start by introducing you, Doctor. Maybe you can tell us a bit about yourself and your streaming.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm new. Started not too long ago. So you can go check me out on twitch.tv/DOKD0R.
You don't have to
Is-
worry about that. I'll put it above you.
I totally want to put it everywhere.
Oh.
I'm a pharmacist. I work full time, and I stream on the side. And I thought, why not? Pretty much it.
Yeah. Where are you
Yeah.
hoping to take this? What are you hoping to get out of this?
I mean, at the beginning it was just a bit of fun. I thought, yeah, why not? I game a lot. Let's show everyone what I can do, I guess. And I kind of want to just keep it that way. If I make a bit of money and get a bit more famous, hey, that's awesome. But I'm having fun with it. That's pretty much it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And
I
what
definitely
kind of
think
stuff?
the attitude's a thing, hey.
Yeah, no, it definitely
Yeah,
helps.
Tell us more.
definitely think you don't. Oh, sorry, continue.
No, tell us more about the attitude.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, like, obviously, like, I'm not obviously, like, I'm just here lurking, been playing games with you guys a little bit, as you know. But I think that's the important thing for anyone trying to start out. Like, you don't want to. It's a bit like acting. Like, only 5% of, pretty sure it's 5% of all actors actually make enough to earn off of just their acting, and they have to supplement their income with other things. But like, I think streamers, that demographic is very similar. You need to go in with kind of a low expectations and just have fun.
5% actually sounds really generous, to be honest. 5% of all
Yeah,
actors
pretty good.
actually make money. Because I think
Yeah.
already you can see kind of like Twitch stats. Getting my jumper off here. We're getting serious.
Oh, getting steamy.
Oh, yes. But you can see Twitch stats of different channels. And it's really interesting because I think for both of us, it says top 1%, even though we've just started out.
yeah, really.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey, not bad.
there's a ton of people out there that probably have, maybe streamed once to...
Yeah, made an account and never
True.
touched it.
Yeah, that's it. So
Well,
5%
'cause
maybe is not too unreasonable.
I mean, as someone who watches streams, you'll look through. I'll be looking when you guys are playing at like a certain game, and you guys might be like, 5, 10 viewers sort of thing. There's like hundreds of people with like 0, 1, 2 viewers that have been streaming for ages.
Yeah, that is definitely
Brutal market to get into.
Oh yes, and we'll be telling everyone all about it in the this episode and the upcoming episodes. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, I think for me, when I got into trying to make content, it was just like a real stab in the dark because it's always kind of been something that I've been interested in wanting to do, but it's always one of those things that you don't really have a go at trying. And I think it took, because for context, I'm currently doing my PhD in my final year in molecular cancer biology. And for a while when COVID came, we were completely at home isolated for about 2 months. And I think during that 2 months, there was a lot of time to sort of have a think about everything that was going on. And I kind of came to realize that you kind of became really aware of your mortality, and I was sort of like, it sounds a bit dark, I know, but it's like you kind of start to think, well, why don't I
True, though.
like take a crack at doing one of those crazy things that you probably never be able to actually do, but I don't know, I kind of felt like I wouldn't be able to forgive myself for not at least trying, you know?
Yeah.
And so I just decided to jump on camera, and
Yeah, no, like it can't hurt.
Why not?
Give it a try. I mean, you guys have been enjoying it so far, from what I've seen.
yeah, it's pretty
Can't-
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no, I mean, those good days are good, and I mean, I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot.
yeah, but before we get into our experiences streaming so far, though, I wanted to start talking about um, getting into doing streaming and how we actually went about doing that. So I don't know about you, but did you just decide one day to just jump straight on Twitch and turn on a camera, or was this something you looked into first? Did you read about this?
Yeah, I mean, I did a decent amount of research. I mean, decent amount of research. I googled it a bit.
Yeah,
But no,
what did you Google though? Like, who did you Google? What did you read? Was there like someone that you were trying to look up to,
well, I mean, it
or
kind of started during, when was it? June or whatever it was. The Tarkov streams that were happening. It was Sea of Thieves and there was Tarkov happening at the same time. All the Twitch drops and things like
yeah,
that. I remember watching just a few of the people that are doing it, and not even big people that had like, I don't know, 30, 40 viewers. Honestly, I can't remember them at the moment. But yeah, no, I just went through and was looking at what they were doing, and it just seemed like they were having fun, engaging with people in their chat, doing what they wanted to do, and enjoying themselves. And that's kind of what drew me to it to begin with. Um, so I had a basic lookup of what they did, and I literally googled how do I stream on Twitch. That was it.
Hmm.
Had like a step by step 6-7 points of do this, then do this, and that's how it works.
Yeah, and
So
realistically,
yeah.
there's quite a lot of guides out there at the
Oh
moment,
yeah,
aren't
no.
there?
Oh
A
yeah. I
There's
ton
mean,
of
a
things.
heap of information.
yeah. I think I looked at the first 2 or 3 on Google and slowly worked through it. I mean, that's pretty much it.
And so
And
is
I have some
that
good
with
tips.
everything though? Is that also like the software that you use, the hardware, like how to set up your Twitch account, or did you just kind of give it a go as quickly as you
Uh,
could and then kind of perfected it later?
yeah, no, idea was definitely a YOLO at the beginning, and I have definitely been getting it more fine tuned. It's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect.
Yeah,
I've
that's
had a
it.
lot of I've had a lot of hardware and software issues
Yeah, I
since
mean, I
I've
think
begun.
that's something that people always keep changing and improving. I think that's the whole
Yeah.
point of this, right? Like,
Oh
even
no,
people
for
up the
sure.
top, they're always changing things.
Well, I
Yeah,
think it's
no.
something that I took for granted until hearing a little bit about what you guys have done, and that like the streamers, the top ones, like the amount of effort that goes into it's insane.
Yeah, I definitely think for me that was like my biggest surprise that I had, because it's easy to go and watch like one of the top streamers and you sit there and you like watch what they do and you're like, this, I don't get it, this is easy, like what's so
Yeah.
difficult about this? And then you throw yourself into the deep end and you're like, actually there's there's a lot of work
Yep.
involved in this.
And I mean, not just the setup, but like I feel like every time that I'm online at the moment, even when I was beginning, it was you have to be on. You're here, you're present, you have to be attentive to chat and the game and everything around you, and you're always on, I guess, is the way to say it.
Right.
And that takes a lot out of you.
What do you guys find the hardest out of it so far, as a
Oof.
innocent bystander?
That's a good question. I mean, this is kind of pushing beyond, for me at least, the bounds of before I got into it. My week one stream. This is kind of further down the track, but for me, well, you sort of, when you first get into it, like emotions are running high. You're pumped. You're buzzed. It's really awesome. But for
Yeah.
me, there's actually like a bit of a, it can be really mentally draining and like mentally and emotionally draining, because not just from the fact that of being on camera, being watched for hours on end, but for me, one of the big things was the good stream versus the bad stream. So that for me is the biggest thing to struggle with, because you could do a stream and you could have 7 to 12 people watching, for which for me at the moment that's like those are good numbers. And you are like ecstatic, man. It's like it's like a total drug, nearly. You're just like over the moon. You're having a great time, interacting with some of the people. You're like, hey, like this is good. Like I like this. Maybe we've got a chance of making something of it. And then you jump on the stream the next day and you've hyped up and you're super excited and you do the exact same thing, and like maybe your mum's watching and that's about it. Like it's
Yep.
and for me it's that part that's brutal, because once it happens to you once, then you kind of have that in the back of your mind all the time. Like you almost have this fear of going live, because you're like, oh, God, I hope it's like a half okay stream, because the how like high you feel when it goes well, and then the how low you feel about yourself when no one watches, it's like a massive difference. And so you're sitting there dreading, like, please don't make this one of those awkward nights where you sit there just filming to no one, basically.
Like I find that terrifying as someone who hasn't done it at all.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know about
That's scary.
I don't know about you, Doctor, but yeah, it is kind of scary. I mean,
Oh yeah, it hurts. That's probably the biggest thing. Like, yeah, you've got it's like I don't know, heroin high. I've never really used anything like that, but that's what I'm assuming it's like. You get them endorphins, you love it, and yeah, the next day it's shit. um, and it really does discourage you from continuing. I've definitely had moments where, like, I've had a really, really good day. I jump on the next day, first hours, yeah, exactly. No one or your mum, and I just don't want to keep going. I'm just like, why am I doing this again? Eh. Um, but then a couple days go past and I'm good. I'm happy.
yeah, you're doing it to chase those good times, the good
Yeah.
moments.
Oh yeah.
I suppose the actual just enjoyment of what you're doing it's got to be enough to keep you going. Otherwise, you will burn out immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know when I was looking into doing this, because I'd of course, you do it casually when you get into it, but I did get into it with the hopes of trying to take it somewhere. Um, and one of the things I was kind of worried about is this school of thought where, you know, there's that saying do what you love and you'll never feel like you work a day in your life. But I don't necessarily buy into that, and I was kind of really worried that
No.
if I turn what I love, being video games, into a career, will it become something that you hate? You know what I mean? Like, will it become that this is
Yeah, you don't.
something that goes from being, a vent, an outlet, a bit of fun, to like something that starts to dominate your life?
Yeah.
I don't know
I
if
can understand that.
you guys thought about that, because when I was looking into before I started, all sorts of I went crazy reading like Reddit posts, YouTube videos on all of this sort of stuff before I even got in there. I guess because it was almost like just procrastinating, just taking the plunge. Um, and one of the things that people were saying was the debate of, well, do you become, this game streamer? Like, hey, do you become a Valorant streamer and that's just all you do? Or do you become like a variety streamer and try a few different things? And for the most part, the answers that I saw people giving were they were saying pick one game and stick with it for the best growth. But for you guys that know me, I don't play one game.
Yeah.
I play
Yep.
hundreds of
Not a
games.
man to settle.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I play a game for 2-3 weeks and I'm like, cool, I'm bored. Let's move on to the next thing. So
Yeah.
for me, that was like a very genuine fear to sit there and go, oh, actually, I don't know if maybe this is for me if it means that I have to sit there and play one game. I don't know if you feel the same way, Doc.
Yeah. No, I'm very similar as well. My Steam library is very large and I've played a lot of them. Not much of each one though. Because yeah, I get very bored, I guess, of games. Although I go back to quite a few that I quite enjoy. I couldn't see myself being like just the Tarkov streamer or just the Minecraft streamer. I'd lose it. I'd give up after a couple of weeks. Yeah, diversity. Yeah, definitely helps.
Yeah.
I mean, I think over the years there's been so many streamers that like some of the biggest ones that have been known for like their one game that have tried to divert to something else, but they've been doing it for that long. They just lose like 80%, 90% of their audience just anytime they'll drop from 10k viewers to 500 just by changing games.
But I feel like once you're that
And they
size,
got
that
kind
kind
of
of.
stuck.
I feel like obviously I can't speak
Obviously,
from
that's
experience,
top
not
e-
even close.
obviously that's the top
But I
end
feel
of
like
the
once
spectrum, but
once you're at that size where you've got 10,000 viewers and you're dropping down to like 2,000 or something based on the game you play, does it really matter that much?
yeah, I suppose
like
that's true. You can get
2,000
away
is
with it.
still a ton of viewers. Like,
Yeah, you're still at the top of the listing. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's it.
yeah.
You're still dominating
think-
like whatever you stream.
I think that's the thing though, is that it's like you've got to either to get to that point. Most of them had to stay with one game. Like so many variety streamers were famous for one reason or another a few years ago.
Yeah.
Usually, it was often one game that was popular at the time,
I don't know if
and they managed to break out of it. I mean, that's just my sort of.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think there's a lot of like variety streamers that were just always variety streamers and they're big. People like Germa985, I think is a good example that comes to mind, is he wasn't really known for one game. He played a whole bunch of different games and
That's true. That's
built
true.
off of that. I think you have a lot of big streamers that of course then start to, like meander around and start playing just literally whatever they feel like at the time, but I don't think that necessarily means that you can't be variety. I think it just then depends what you're bringing to the table. You know what I mean? Like, is there a point of playing that one game? Like, is what you're bringing to the table the reason people are going to watch you because you're like the fucking best in the world at that game? Like, are you a Shroud or something?
Yep.
People are going to sit there and just stare at your crazy fucking head snapping for hours, or if you're doing
it is pretty impressive though.
if you're doing variety streams, that's not going to be you, right? Like, I don't think Doc or I are bad at games at all, but we're kind of like the jack of all trades, master of none. Like, yeah,
exactly. Yeah, no, 100% agree. Like, yeah. I guess that's the kind of mindset that we have. Like, starting off, you have to really choose. Like,
what are you gonna do?
if I was really, really good at a game, that's what I'd be doing. I wouldn't be, trying bits and pieces here and there. I'd be just sticking it. Like, if I was amazing at Tarkov, I'd just be playing Tarkov and nonstop, because that'd get me the views. I mean, getting 20 kills in a match or something stupid, that'd get you the views, right?
maybe. I mean, though, at the same time, you got to be having fun, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, we'll get into probably what we streamed a bit later on, but I definitely, while I was poking around, I tried streaming a game that I'm like, I wouldn't really normally play this game, and it wasn't good. I wasn't having fun. And I think that's important. I think you still need to just stream what you want to, at the end of the day.
It comes across on the stream too. Like, if you're playing something that you're doing supposedly for views, but you're not really enjoying it, you enjoying it is a huge part of the attraction to your stream.
Yeah.
That said, I rewatched a VOD from said game that I wasn't enjoying myself, and I was literally being a cranky asshole. Like, I was just fucking snappy as hell, and I was like grumpy, and you could almost like see in my face, I was just like just really fucking not loving it. And no wonder people would come in and bounce, right? Like, it's not what they're here for.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
So
I guess
there's a very niche market for rage streamers, isn't there?
Yeah, well, if it depends like how you do it. You could go like the Dr. Disrespect route and make it your fucking personality. Like, you put on that persona of being a knob. Well, I think if we're gonna start talking about our choice of game, maybe we should move on to talking about our actual first week of streaming.
Yeah.
And how that went.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have anything to share about that first. Doc?
Yeah, it happened. It was a week.
Wasn't a good week?
It was an interesting week. Because I mean, I told a heap of friends I was doing this. That was the start. That's how that's how you get your first 10 followers, right? That's how you get your first 10 views.
Yeah, I think my first 10 were all friends.
Got to start from somewhere.
Exactly, yeah. So I think I played a lot of Sea of Thieves with you.
That's true.
I think that was my entire first week. Sea of Thieves and maybe a little bit of Tarkov. And they, yeah, I mean, it's as you'd expect starting off, I guess. Like looking back now, it looks terrible, and I could tell back then it was, terrible.
But why?
Um,
Why does it? What was terrible about it at the time?
Well, for one,
I'm
like you couldn't
interested.
see this. I didn't have a camera.
Oh,
The
no
first
camera,
week.
right?
Yeah, so I was relying on my beautiful, beautiful voice.
Yeah, it's
Which
alright.
didn't go well. Well, no,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think I had like 2 or 3 random people join and instantly leave.
Yeah, I remember that
Um,
now because I remember we were both playing Sea of Thieves together, even though I wasn't streaming. But we're talking about it, and I was like, I'm gonna wait until I get my camera. 'Cause
Yeah,
in Australia at the time, for context for people listening, it's really hard right
Oh.
now to get a webcam in Australia because
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
wants one because everyone's doing these like Zoom meetings at home
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
all that
well,
sort of stuff.
I was literally looking for one for this, and it was a nightmare. I couldn't find anything within like 20, 30 Ks of me.
wait,
Yeah.
what are you using again?
So I'm using my mobile right now, which
Hey, that's
hey,
that's what
it's
I was
working,
gonna do.
It's
like,
working.
I
looks
was
alright.
Yeah, I was gonna do the same thing. So
Yeah,
It's definitely working, and
everyone will have to. Anyone watching, they will have to forgive me for the green screen, but
get there.
and anyone that's just listening won't know any better anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
and it's all good.
Yeah, you need to go to YouTube's for the full experience.
Yeah, you can you can see Skizzle in HD.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, I remember that, and I remember looking into that because that's why I made a conscious decision not to do it until I get a webcam because, like, when you're looking for Twitch advice, like everyone has such different opinions, but
Yeah.
for the most part, like one of the few things I saw people kind of agree on is like you need a webcam. Like if you want to get into it, like in 2020, you need a webcam. Like
Yeah.
there's people that obviously have kind
Mm.
of made it without a webcam or don't use a webcam or don't use a webcam regularly, but like they're already there. They're already they've done the grind.
They
Like
started early
yeah, you
without it,
you
and
can't.
it wasn't a big thing anyway.
Yeah, that what they were saying. Like all the people that I looked into, they were saying like if you're getting in now, get a webcam. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
Well, I think you get a lot of content out of just your your facial reaction is huge. Like it saves. I suppose it probably saves you a lot on the vocal end.
Oh no,
Definitely help.
Do you think?
my vocal end
think-
is always getting slammed, dude. I'm so thirsty
Yeah.
after I stream because it's just hours of talking non-stop. Like you wouldn't do that normally, like when you're playing video games.
No,
You're
it's
taking,
definitely.
you're taking turns.
Yeah. Well, you're just continuously talking. Like someone says something in chat, but they're saying it types, and you're usually saying that out loud and then replying to them, and then filling the blank spots with a bit of text, like a bit of conversation to yourself about
Yeah,
the game. You don't stop.
yeah.
It does
Mm.
hurt by the end of the night.
Tell me,
sometimes.
Skizzle, are you any good at talking to yourself in a mirror?
Trying it out now.
Because if so, then you
Like,
too
I mean, this is
could
new to
try
me, so-
streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is that I know you guys have been doing it for what, a couple of months now.
No, not even.
Not even- not
I think
even
I
that.
just hit a month a couple days
Yeah,
ago.
right. Oh shit,
Yeah, I got like a month and a bit. Yeah.
it's gone pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Like I've loosely considered it because you guys have kind of been doing it, and there's like a few reasons why I haven't really got too much into it, but it's definitely different, even just being on camera in general.
yeah.
Is
Yeah,
very new
how
to
is
me.
it now being on camera during a podcast?
It's all right. I mean, not too strange. Oh, still look all right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looking good, mate.
Yeah.
Looking
You
good.
don't
Yeah.
mind.
No pressure.
Yeah, no, so it was like we had a chat. Like, I mean, pretty much every night after we finished playing and I stopped the stream, we stayed on and had a bit of a chat afterwards. And like, you definitely helped talk me into doing a lot of things, and I hope I helped you out a little bit as well.
Yeah, you kind of
but
talked
you-
me into giving it a go, to be honest. Like,
Yeah,
it was kind of a thought that was
Um,
sitting at the back of my head, but until I heard someone that I knew being like, "Hey, I'm going to try this," I'm like, "Hey, like, it's like
There you go.
if a friend bungee jumping jumps off the bridge first, then you're like, oh yeah, all right,
nope,
I'll jump off
Nope.
as well." No,
nope.
you don't just jump off of tall objects because you see your friend do it.
I'm good.
Oh, it must just
Dude,
be me
bungee-
then.
I think it's just you.
I'd love to go bungee jumping, man. That sounds awesome.
Look, that was just a metaphor. I actually would hate to go bungee jumping, but
Yeah, no.
if it was
Yeah?
just maybe if it was diving off of like a diving board or
Cliff
something,
into
so,
water, yeah.
something a little less brain damagey.
Snapped ankly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
But
yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I'm pretty sure we decided. Well, I know I decided when you ordered your camera, I ordered my camera based on reviews that we kind of both looked up, but mostly what you chose. And yeah, like
And mostly what was in stock at the same store that we happened to purchase the same item from. Dude, they should have given me a sponsorship for that.
they really should have.
I basically
Yeah, refer a friend.
Yeah,
You should have
exactly.
given me a discount code for there though, because like I'm
Oh.
giving them business, right? That's how it works.
Mm.
Yeah.
And we
If
need to hit them up.
Yeah, get some
Unnamed tech company in Brisbane.
Yeah.
get some sponsorship deals, guys. Come on, pick up your game.
Later.
I don't know. That place actually is not that great. They probably would just yell at us,
You're not wrong.
to be honest.
Yeah,
As
all
that
good.
seems to be their standard policy. Anyway, that's off topic.
How
Yeah.
are you guys finding the technical side of it? Now that you're at a month in, I imagine that would be like. I mean, I found just setting up this camera a nightmare, and I mean, I don't claim to be particularly tech savvy, but how do you guys find the whole streaming thing?
I've been learning a lot of things, that's for sure.
I had a roller coaster.
Yeah, that's true. You discovered some different tech issues though.
Yeah, so I mean, I thought my computer was good going into streaming. I quickly found out after the first week that nothing I owned could handle anything I was trying to do.
Wow.
Turns out having a 6-year-old PC, even when it was high end 6 years ago, it was old.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that'll do it. Damn.
Oh yeah, no, it still works. Like it's been gifted to a friend and it's working still. Like
Lucky them.
perfectly, but just don't stream with it because turns out video cards older than that can't encode on the same chip and causes problems. Yeah, I had a lot of issues with the technical side of things. A lot of learning curves. But I mean, it's up and running. I'm liking my setup now. Which is good.
Right.
Yeah.
That is good. I didn't have hardware problems because I had a pretty beefy machine. I was like, oh, should I get an upgrade? But I don't know. I thought it would sound silly to message some of my friends and say, hey, does anyone have something better than a GTX 1080 Ti lying around? And maybe I might have like, yeah, one friend with an RTX. That's
yeah.
But software is like I didn't have problems, but there's a lot of like random stuff that you just didn't know how to do. So things like OBS, which little plug for OBS, but great software, super powerful, super easy to use once you kind of give it a go.
I believe we're using it right now.
I mean, it's the only one I've ever heard of, so it kind of narrows it down.
Oh, there's another one as well, but that people use kind of mainly that we will not mention because this one's cooler.
Yep.
But yeah, even little things like getting my green screen going. So I have like my green screen that I have set up because otherwise people could see my like tiny little fucking room with shit all in the background.
Yep.
So I decided, that's not really like a cool gamer room. So I'm gonna.
Again, you started like your streams with a green screen, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I just waited till I had components that was required.
See, I just wanted to jump into it, and if anyone still has footage of my first few streams, my first 2 weeks, you can see everything in the background. All my things.
I think it's fine, honestly. Like after doing it for a while, I don't think necessarily that was necessary. I don't think necessarily that was necessary. That's But
I feel like I see more streamers without a green screen than I do with.
I almost see everyone that doesn't have one, but they kind of have like a gamer room.
Yeah, they usually have like a nice setup behind them.
Some sweet RGBs going off and
Yeah,
all that sort of
their
stuff.
name in neon across the back wall, like
some crap like that.
All the fun stuff.
Desks with like memorabilia and things like that on it.
Yeah, where I'm renting, there's no way that's that's gonna happen. They're trying to get me to currently re-carpet my entire room just because I had a desk chair in there. Like, You know, it's
Yeah, right.
so good
Yeah.
luck. Good luck mounting green screens and RGB in this room. But even if it was a total mess, though, I've seen people with rooms that are a total mess, and it's not a big deal, to be honest.
Yeah.
I kind of made it
I've
more of
seen
a big
people
deal than it
stream from
needs
their
to.
bedroom, like
Yeah, there's like
with
Yeah.
sleeping
like
streams
bed
and
in the
stuff.
background.
Well, that's the thing. So,
Cool.
yeah, bed unmade half the time. From
Yeah, exactly. So it's not really that big of a
I
deal.
mean, to be fair though, as well, it's not like a huge effort to just like tidy up the stuff behind you.
Oh, but it's yeah, but like
But what we were saying, it doesn't logistically really work, does it?
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
you can solve that entire issue by putting a sheet of green fabric.
Exactly.
that's
I
it.
mean,
Yeah.
that's the reason I did it.
It wasn't even that like a matter of not wanting to tidy up. It's the fact that I literally don't have storage space. So sometimes corners
Right,
of the
yeah.
room have become storage space
Yeah.
for
I've done that as
things.
well.
I even tried to like improve it even more before I started streaming to make room to put the green screen in, and went like full to IKEA and got all their random like Swelkenbergen,
Jabas.
yeah,
Hugenabend.
which like hang from the roof and you like put shelves in them and
Damn.
all sorts of nut stuff. I say hang from the roof, I mean from the wardrobe.
Yeah.
But yeah, because
In
if
the
I could
wardrobe,
if I could
yeah.
just hang something from a
Hmm.
roof, then there wouldn't be a problem, would there?
Right.
That'd be great.
But yeah, so I did that. But yeah, I don't really necessarily think you need to wait. You could just jump in and start streaming.
Yeah.
I
mean,
waited
that's what
long.
I did.
You
Yeah.
will make mistakes anyway, right? Like that's
Hmm.
how you learn.
100%.
I have a mistake to share as well, actually, and I think that'll bring up an interesting topic.
Yeah.
So this is based off of my week 1 of streaming, right? So one of the games that I streamed in my week 1 was GTA 5 because I wanted to play GTA. Really, there was no other better reason than
That's
that. And I kind of wanted to just give something a go. It's kind of casual, laid back. I thought it might make some interesting content. And as I started playing, a viewer saw my Rockstar account name and then like used that to join my current online session because I was just in a public session, like as you normally do when you're playing the game. Didn't think anything of it. Anyway, he jumps in and then he gets in like an Avenger, which is like a big flying gunship for people that aren't familiar with the game, and he starts just blowing us up like repeatedly, like just blowing up everything around us, blowing us up repeatedly. Half my stream was just me getting killed by this guy. And I didn't do anything about it either because I kind of like at that point I only had like 15 followers and every single follower counted, so I was like, oh my god, I can't be mean to this guy, otherwise he'll not follow me or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so I guess that was the mistake there, was letting a viewer like control the game experience. And I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you, Doc,
Mm.
what you thought of that and whether you've had any similar experiences.
Yeah, so I was playing GTA with you that day, and yeah, I knew what you were doing. Like I knew he was a follower. Like I heard you talk to him in chat, and then he joined the game, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But yeah, no, I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to. Again, I refrained from shooting him. I altered my gameplay experience because
Absolutely, yeah, that's the thing. Like,
I didn't want to harm your stream. I didn't want to hurt you. Um, I can't remember. I think I was streaming on the same day. I also think I deleted the stream for reasons.
yes,
Which happened in the stream as well
I
because
think
GTA is not filtered.
we can talk about that a little bit as well.
Yeah, sure,
Without using
annoys
the
me.
word. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, unfiltered chat in games it's painful.
it is filtered, but as I've learned that apparently in GTA Online specifically, so a word of the wise to fellow new streamers that might look to be streaming GTA 5, but anyone using a mod client, to like hack in GTA, they can actually get around the chat filters. And so the event we're talking about in question is that we were just playing the game, someone joined the lobby and just started spamming in chat the N-word, and we were like, oh fuck, like Alt F4, not okay, not cool, we're not okay with this. And there's nothing we could do about that other short of just not playing online.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, I don't think I've streamed GTA since that happened.
No, I haven't touched it.
And I like the game, so it's a real shame, to be honest.
Yeah, it really is. But I mean, yeah, going back to the viewers joining your game. I mean, yeah, I can see why and how we did that.
Welcome
And
back.
oh, look, he's alive. But yeah, no, it.
Yeah, like we talked about me not being technically competent.
Yeah,
But
no,
here we are.
that was in there.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I don't want to like. So I've talked to some people about Terraria. Like we played Terraria together a couple of times now.
We have.
And I've had people jump in my chat going, "Hey, is your server open? Can I join your server? When are you going to do a streamer plays with viewers type thing?" And to be honest, I feel like maybe one day I will if I can figure out how to disable chat and do some other sneaky things.
Yep.
100%, I'd be keen to do that. But I think changing it, especially at the beginning, like changing how you play and what you do to impress one person, I'm not gonna do it anymore.
I don't even think there's a number that you could do, because the thing is like I also have been streaming some Terraria, and I have had countless people at almost like clockwork every stream. They jump in and they say, "Hey, can I play with you? Hey, can I join? Let me join. Let me play with you." Like, as well, half of the time, even the way they ask kind of rubs you the wrong way, because sometimes they ask, and then other times they demand. They're like, what's the details?
Really?
Let me play with you. Like,
what's your server?
Yeah, and I've had a few people, in fact, some that I've even had to ban from my chat, where I've let them down nicely, and I said, "Oh, look, hey, I might organize a community stream at some point, but like I'm halfway through my Terraria playthrough at the moment, and I've got my world set up with all my loot and all my chests. I don't really want to just open the floodgates, let anyone in." And then I've had like people cuss me out and be like, "Ha ha ha! Like, noob streamer, you've only got like 3 people watching. What the hell? Like, won't let me play with you. And like, I had to not be bitter about it on camera, but at the time I was sitting there thinking, God, if I'm the loser in this situation, look at you begging the guy with 3 viewers to let him play Terraria with you. Like, Jesus, but can you imagine the havoc if you let this guy in and he just like he jumps into your chests and he starts helping himself to random stuff, and then like he blows up your house, or he just starts summoning bosses, or he he jumps into the dungeon and opens up a chest, and then he's like, "Oh, sweet, like the such and such." Or even beyond that, like there's no way that you can control what they join the world with. So you could be sitting there pre-hard mode, which is like early game for people that don't play Terraria, and they can jump in with an end game character with all the loot and just like mess everything up.
World. Yeah,
they could literally just blow up everything.
Even if they're not specifically griefing you, they can just like speed run through and kill everything with their end game stuff, and you're like, cool, my whole Terraria experience has just been ruined, and it's been ruined on stream for everyone else watching. And that's like one game's example, but obviously, I think at any size, it becomes apparent to streamers that like you can't just let the viewer control the experience.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I've done it with Minecraft as well. I've had people go, "Hey, why don't you have a server open and I can join you and help you out?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but no, I'm sorry."
Minecraft would be a little different though, because Minecraft is good because there's a lot of moderation tools in place.
That's true.
And with a lot of the games that viewers,
things.
Yeah, a lot of the games that viewers will ask you to join you in have 0 anti-griefing or moderation protection. Like, the good thing about Minecraft is you can just zone an area of the map and say, "Hey, this is where the viewers come and build." And people do that. That's what people do on their streams. Like,
that's true.
You'll have your like streamer part and they're off playing by themselves, and then over there is like a city that a bunch of the viewers are building, and that's all good and that all works really well. But you just can't do that on every game, right?
No,
I think there's not a huge amount of games where you really can bring viewers in that easily, is there?
Yeah.
I mean, I see Jackbox happen a lot as well. Viewers in Jackbox, and I feel like that can be messy as well.
I think that can work, but you can also get some TOS issues potentially.
Depending on who you're playing with. But for the most part, the viewers, so they've got like a streamer mode, because I've played around with this before, and the viewers, they don't have an active participation role. Like, they participate, but they don't like write things or something.
Yeah,
because
they
lot
can
of
vote,
voting.
can't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so that makes it really powerful.
That could be alright.
That's true.
It is pretty good. Like, even when I went to PAX one year, they had the people that voice act for the voice actors on Jackbox come on and play the game like live on a stage.
Wow.
And everyone in the audience could join as audience members, but all we could really do is just like vote on answers and things like that and pick the winners. But that's with an audience of about 5,000. And yeah, that was fun as an experience. On a side note,
I suppose it's more interaction that you'd get from your standard stream anyway, outside of just chat.
yeah. But the tricky
Yeah.
part then is finding the right crew of people to play game with, because obviously everything has to be
Yeah.
TOS friendly from the actual people playing the game.
So you need
And
peop- yeah.
for those paid employees of the company sitting up on stage, of course they're going to behave. You know, they're going to do all the right things. But you know, maybe some of our mates, maybe not.
Yeah, made after having quite a few
Yeah,
beers.
there'd be a bit of
That's
Most
it.
likely not.
Might
Yeah.
be a bit of a
you
fiesta.
have to moderate your people joining for sure. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I also wanted to talk a bit about and share a bit about some of the games that I streamed in my first week, because I wanted to talk about
Yeah.
choice of game, right? So I've got it written down here, but I streamed 4 different games, right? So Sea of Thieves was the big one, obviously, because that's the first thing we really hit hard when we started streaming.
Yeah.
Then I had GTA 5, which we've already talked a bit about. I had a really weird little game that I played as a kid called Puzzle Pirates that I decided to stream.
You and your puzzle pirate.
That's
Man.
it. Yep,
I love it.
these guys
I
know
love
me.
it.
They know my little guilty pleasures there for that
Yep.
game from like 2002. And then Gary's mod for Trouble in Terror Town. We had a little
that was
server with our
great.
mates. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. And I wanted to kind of talk about, because they all kind of performed really differently. It was really interesting. My Sea of Thieves streams was basically like crickets in the background. No one was watching that. If people were watching it, they would come in, leave instantly. Like I don't even know why they were coming in to leave instantly. In fact, thinking about it now, I was almost like, are they just trying to get lucky with the stream snipe? And be like, hey, they happen to be in the same server as me, which I think
Yeah.
you're wasting your time if you do that, because that's like an honest to god needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Or bots could be, weird.
that's
things
true. That's
happen.
true. You get hit with a few random bots when you first start that try to like sell you like views and things like that.
Yep.
Really?
But yeah, and I wanted to talk about that because you obviously had similar experiences, Doc, with Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, that was my week. Sea of Thieves and I think one Tarkov stream, and that was it. Like my first week done. And see, the thing with Sea of Thieves that, like, again, I can see the stats. It performed poorly again first week. Like, I get it, it's not going to do amazing.
Exactly.
But even second week compared to other things, like, yeah, we played Gary's mod, and that went fairly well. And it was also a lot of fun. Sea of Thieves I enjoy as a game. It's good,
Yeah.
very good.
It's like
As
one of
a
my
streamable
favorite.
game, not so much. Hello there.
Yeah, a little sneaky
Sorry
hand.
about
Hello there. But why do you think it's not very good as a streaming game? Because that was something that I thought about. Like, I think I've come up with an answer, but I want to hear your thoughts first.
Oh, I honestly haven't really thought about it. I guess. See, I don't know. I've looked at a lot of streamers again because like when we first started, Sea of Thieves was on doing its Twitch drops. So most of the like content that I watched and what got me into streaming was Sea of Thieves content. So I thought, yeah, like these guys are playing together, and they're getting good views and things like that. It's great. I kind of think it's well, I mean, Sea of Thieves, it's islands and lots of sailing. I think the lots of sailing kind of does it. It's not,
Right.
action, action, action. It's action, 20 minutes of standing around, twiddling our thumbs, more action.
Right.
And you just sit there, talking between ourselves because there was 3 of us. So we were talking between ourselves or not talking at all and just sitting there and doing nothing for a bit. So I feel like that's what may have impacted it. Also, no face cam again that first week for me.
True. But I
which
also
think
had a
was
face
because-
cam and I didn't perform very well at all for views.
That's very true. But I
Um,
don't know what were your reasons. What do you think? Why?
so for context, first of all, I should just say stats wise, I got about less than half the number of viewers that I would get on my Sea of Thieves stream compared to GTA 5, Puzzle Pirates, and even Gary's mod. So
It's consistent with consistent with what I've got here.
it's consistently the worst thing I've streamed. Now, for me, I had to think about this because I think just for my own journey, it's been really useful that whenever I have a stream, I have like a half an hour debrief with myself or whoever might be around, like Doc or someone like that, and hash it out and have a think about it, what worked, what didn't. For Sea of Thieves, what I actually think it was is that the low cost of entry to the game meant that people weren't so interested in watching, they were more interested in playing. So
Yeah.
I think first of all, there's a ton of competition out there because it's such an easy game to stream. You need $1 on the Microsoft Store, and
The
you've
first
got
2 months, whatever it is.
and
yeah.
you've got Sea of Thieves, and you know
Really?
if you're an Xbox player, you've
I haven't tried it.
already got subscription going to play Xbox Online, so it's literally free for you. So already, like pretty much anyone that wants to play it can on the cheap, like really easily.
Maybe I ought to try it.
And I think a lot of people that then play that game kind of go, hey, like I can stream this. It looks visually good. It's action packed. Because I know you're saying like it's not always action packed, but we did one of my Sea of Thieves streams that I tried doing was with the new what is it? The Ghost Fleet thing?
Ghost Fleet. I remember that.
And
Yeah, Ghost Fleet.
that was basically 4 hours of constant ship battles. Like I think there was probably maybe 10-20 minutes out of that whole 4 hours where we weren't fighting something in
Yeah.
a boat.
It is a cool looking game. Like as someone who hasn't tried it yet,
Yeah, and
it
yet
does look really nice.
there were no viewers. And here's the other thing that I was thinking about when it comes to a game like Sea of Thieves is that it's established, it's old. Like a lot of people have really made a name for themselves streaming Sea of Thieves, you know, like Summit for an example.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he got famous off of Sea of Thieves, but he saw a lot of growth. You know,
Yeah,
to be honest, I hadn't heard of Summit before Sea of Thieves. That was where I was introduced to Summit because he used to do this thing where he'd try and sneak on people's boats and like tuck behind crates and things like that. And
Yep.
yeah, that in itself saw explosive growth for like his YouTube and his Twitch, but also for the actual game Sea of Thieves. So many people saw that and was like, hell yeah, I want to try that.
And it's so easy to access. Why not?
Exactly. And I think there are a lot of people that are trying to recreate what he did well,
Yeah.
streaming themselves as well. So that's why I kind of came up with that not working.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, yeah. But to talk about some of the other games, because then I mentioned how that was half my viewership compared to some other games. But I think as well, viewership doesn't mean everything. That was kind of the only week where I really took a big note of it. I know it might sound weird saying viewership isn't everything, but for an example, so and this is still one of my better performing streams that I've done to date, where I had an average of 5 people watching and 9 people peak on Puzzle Pirates, right? which is for someone that, you know, for their third stream to get an average of 5 viewers, I'd
Was
say
that your third stream?
that was my third stream.
Yeah, that's all right.
And that's pretty good. Keeping in
Yeah.
mind, you know, this isn't bringing anyone over from any kind of social media. I have literally no online presence at all.
Mm.
You know, this is from scratch. But that doesn't tell the whole story there, because for the background story, which Doc already knows, is that I at the time was running, like, you have like a guild on the game, right? Which is that you call them crews, but they're basically just a guild of all these players. And I think I was ranked like 30th best guild on the server at the time or something like that. So I had a lot of money, power, influence on the game. And so I had a lot of people jump into the stream, and I think they were literally just there to like chase clout on the game, basically, because they were all people that were playing the game. And to the point where, you know, I advertised in the game chat, hey, I'm doing, you know, a run on a ship, join me. Also, I'm streaming, check out my stream. Someone joined my stream, and then they just started advertising my stream, saying that they'll pay people like a lot of bonus money if they come on to
your stream.
No, to the ship. So you have people working on the ship to kind of have it running. I just thought that was kind of something interesting in terms of my own experience, kind of learning like you still need to enjoy what you're doing.
I think there's a fine balance between the game that you're enjoying playing, enjoying streaming, and getting views.
But it still has to be something that is getting views, because at the same time, I love Sea of Thieves, but you know, I want to have someone watching, and on Sea of Thieves, no one is watching.
I mean, just your mum watching us is weird. Just saying.
I mean, it's more of a metaphor, but you know.
I mean, it's a bit like we were, bit like when we were trying to play Satisfactory. I mean, there were technical issues with that, because it's
fast forwarding a bit into the future there with that one, but
oh yeah, of course,
we're gonna save that story for a later episode, I think.
Yeah, no, fair cop.
But yeah, I get what you mean. And then oppositely as well, like, so Gary's mod, it wasn't a bad stream for me, but
Yeah.
like it was like halfway between like Sea of Thieves and Puzzle Pirates. So people were watching, but it wasn't like super populated or anything like that. But I had such a great time doing that.
That was fun.
Because
That was
it
very
was like
fun.
us and like 10 mates playing TTT,
Yeah.
classic time, always good laughs.
Yeah,
And
TTT, you really can't go wrong.
that leads me into a little plug of saying, hey, we should do that again sometime.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
we should.
very
You
keen.
should also record it and make a sick video like you have on this link right here. Does that
I
work?
reckon that's a bit small.
Does
Wow.
that work? I mean,
Wow.
above.
Oh, I see. I thought you were trying to put it between the fingers. I was
I
like,
wow.
dude, no one's gonna
you
see that.
Fit it in this.
I'm gonna put something between those fingers. It may not be a link though.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to ask is off of your experiences getting into streaming and of your week 1 of streaming, what did you learn from it? And what did you think needed to change for week 2? And what did you change for week 2?
Well, I mean, the big things week 1, week 2 for me, definitely the face cam. Like I think I ordered that the first day I started streaming, and by week 2 I had it.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that did make a difference for me. I feel there was a lot more engagement. I mean, looking at the stats, there was a lot more engagement, to be honest. But like it just felt better as well. Like I'm not just sitting there talking to the wall like a crazy person. I'm instead talking to myself in a mirror.
Yeah, that's
Which
true.
is fine. Yeah. So that was probably the biggest thing, and then just getting into it. Like I remember the first day that I did it, I was just talking nonstop, 100%, go, all the time. Probably drove you guys nuts while we were playing Sea of Thieves because of it.
That's what it
But
takes
yeah,
though.
yeah. And then I mean, yeah, week 2, I think I mellowed out a little bit. It
Well,
helps when you have
just say
what you what.
just say what you did differently. Don't give any hashtag spoilers for episode 2.
I'm not. That's the difference. I mellowed out, I think.
Yeah.
Go with that. And I mean, engagement as well, I guess, is the big thing between week 1 and week 2 that we'll get into a bit more a bit later.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
yeah.
I personally find like some of the funniest clips that I'll see on any highlights are usually someone just like seeing something happen and then just their facial reaction to something absurd is often the funniest part.
It's all
And
about
that's
the face cam.
you obviously aren't going to get that when you don't have a camera because you're just going to have someone going like, "What the fuck was that?" or "That was hilarious." Lol.
Yeah.
You know, that engagement thing is definitely a factor that I find as a viewer that I enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, the big thing that I was kind of learning from my week 1 was the game to pick is important.
Yeah.
So at first I was kind of going like I'll play whatever I feel like, and there's some of that remains. Obviously, I'm playing something I want to play, but there needs to be a bit more strategy. Like, hey, let's not pick a game where someone can jump in and start spamming the N-word, or let's pick a game that
Oh, no.
wasn't brought out in 2002 and isn't like almost entirely dead.
Hey, based on what you were saying before, maybe you should.
But
maybe that's your niche. You're going to be the puzzle pirate streamer.
yeah.
No,
but-
that just sounds dirty.
There's only see, I thought about it. But there's
Of course you did.
there was only like during peak time, you only get about 500 to 600 active players in the whole game.
Damn.
On an MMO.
Is that globally?
That's globally. That's everyone. Literally
Yeah, right.
everyone.
Oh wow.
Which is almost nothing for an MMO. And so, like, hypothetically, if we went off a very generous percent of 10% of anyone playing an MMO is watching someone stream that MMO, then that means, like, at best, I'm going to have 50 viewers. And there was a guy that was, like, an absolute trooper streaming Puzzle Pirates, right? So he basically was the Puzzle Pirates guy.
Really?
Yeah. There was about 4 channels doing it, and there was one guy that was just like, really
dethrone him.
really above the rest. And I think he would peak like 20 to 30 people. So the 50% was a bit of a generous number there. But 20. I'd be stoked if I had 20 to 30 viewers, but also the next step for me, if I
Still
had
solid,
20
yeah.
to 30 viewers, would be, hey, let's turn that 20 or 30 viewers into 50. And then let's turn that 50 into like 60 or 70, and then let's turn those guys into, hitting past the number you need for
75
partner.
to
Yeah,
partner,
exactly. Exactly.
Is it 75 for that?
But that would be literally impossible on Puzzle Pirates.
Yeah, you capped it, viewership.
Exactly.
And then jumping from Puzzle Pirates to something else, I feel like the Puzzle Pirates guys kind of won't follow you.
Dead right. I had some regulars that came back 1 or 2 streams from Puzzle Pirates, from that Puzzle Pirates stream. And they could come back and stomach a little bit of Sea of Thieves, because it's also pirates. As soon as they switched to something not piratey for like 2 streams in a row, never heard from them again. That was it.
Yeah.
That was the end. So
Right.
those guys that are there to watch that are there to watch you. But I mean, I guess that's something we can ask you, Skizzle, because if you were going to watch an obscure game versus like a really popular game like Sea of Thieves, would you pick some smaller channel to watch?
Well, I don't know. I think the main thing I tend to go based off of just recommendations because I'm a lazy piece of shit.
Yeah,
And
as we
so
all are.
recommendations on YouTube or Twitch or whatever, like, usually is what I go off of. And they're usually relatively accurate. But I think anyone's going to go through the top 5 to 10, and most people, including usually me, aren't going to go past the first scroll wheel.
Absolutely.
And that's the hard part, is that you've got to filter yourself to that top 5-10%. That's probably generous, depending on what game you're playing. And you'll have variety streamers that are playing the game that you're playing that they're in the top 5, and you're like, for fuck's sake, this isn't even in their game, but they're
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can imagine that would be a bit of a struggle, but I think it's tough to keep someone like me engaged for more than a few minutes if I'm not interested in the game.
Right.
Because I find personally, like, I'll have certain games that I watch fairly regularly, but I'll stick around for multiple different people for that game because I like the game. But if it's a game that I don't really super watch, then they have to engage me within like 1 minute. Or I'm probably swapping over to something else once I find something else.
That's it. And I felt with some games like Sea of Thieves that if my Puzzle Pirate friends, maybe they still might like Sea of Thieves, they might instead watch, someone playing Sea of Thieves with 300 people watching instead of someone with 3 people watching.
They'd make that little jump. Oh yeah. But I mean, there's also the and I do vaguely remember reading about this as well, that a lot of people like to join smaller streams because of the interaction in chat.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone's only getting 3 people chatting, you're going to be talking to those 3 people, right?
Yeah,
well, that's what I've liked hanging out in your guys' streams a little bit.
Yeah.
You're actually just chatting to people without the spam.
Oh yeah,
it's good.
I can actually like ask you guys questions about the game you're playing. For example, like when you were playing Mountain Blade, I was like, I have no idea how this game works. I'm kind of curious about it. I could actually ask you and the people in chat about it.
Yeah.
Or when you guys playing Sea of Thieves, kind of same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. And look, I feel the same way. I don't watch a lot of big streamers these days. I watch mostly smaller streamers. Because the big streamers, like, I like a lot of the big streamers. Like, you've got like Michael Reeves at the moment, who's like made his way onto Twitch from YouTube, and I personally just think Michael Reeves is fucking hilarious. Like, I just think he is such a funny dude. And I don't want to watch any of his streams because you look at the chat and it's just like build a robot, fucking blah, 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 blah. Like all this kind of stuff. I don't know if you know who Michael Reeves is.
I don't personally, but I have to look into them.
Oh, okay, yeah, because
I vaguely know.
I was getting blank looks when I was like, build a robot, and you're like, what the fuck? Why would you build a robot? That's his shtick. He builds like meme robots on YouTube. Things like the surgery robot,
like actual robots.
Yeah, like he.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he can actually build actual robots. So yeah, things like
that's a niche.
the taser cup. So like when if you don't
Please
drink
tell me more.
if you don't drink your beer fast enough, it tases you. Or a racist tickle me Elmo with facial recognition software in the
I
eye,
have seen that.
so that
yes.
it knows
Oh.
what like sort of demographic you'd fall under, and then picks racial
Yeah.
slurs based on that demographic.
Yep. No, that was good.
Stuff like that, or
Bad, but
Oh
good.
shit, that does sound funny.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, he's hilarious. But his stream, I don't watch his stream because you can't interact with chat because chat is just spam.
Yeah.
And he doesn't interact with chat because he can't. Like, how can you interact with something
he's
that's going like
concentrating on the
300 messages a second, and that's in like slow mode? You know, it's like.
Yeah, well, I mean that's when you get the biggest ones. They're often like the only messages they really respond to are ones that are like when they're like subscriber messages or something like that.
Yeah, and you don't blame him.
Or
Like,
they happen to be like like waiting in a queue for a game or something, so they're actually reading chat full time.
exactly.
Like,
And me personally,
that's-
that doesn't scratch the Twitch itch because I don't get to talk with someone. I don't get to interact with someone. For me, the perfect kind of zone is like 50 to 100 people, and they'll generally respond to your message if they're like good.
Yep.
Do you guys
Paying
find it
attention.
interesting with like I find I watch a reasonable amount of YouTube and not quite as much Twitch, but I find a lot of YouTube content creators who have like exceptionally edited videos that I love and will watch almost every video they have. When I watch them on Twitch, it's not near the same.
Yeah.
Like some streamers don't even have YouTube channels, and I'll be engaged watching their videos watching them on Twitch. But then vice versa happens when YouTubers come to Twitch, and they struggle because their 24/7 persona isn't quite as funny as their
Very true.
the high level of expectations that their YouTube viewers come expecting.
Yeah. Do you have anyone that you'd name and shame?
I have one.
Yeah,
He's a
go
big
on.
one.
Go on.
RT Gaming.
RT Gaming.
Yeah,
True.
yeah.
I've only ever watched his
I like
highlights.
that guy.
I've never
I
actually
like
watched
him.
his stream. Only his highlights.
I like him. Yeah.
So I had because I work Monday to Thursday, have 3 days off. It's awesome. So I was on a Friday during the day, and he was streaming, and I thought, screw it, let's go check it out. Like, let's see who the big boys look like. And yeah, severely underwhelming. Like I can see where his highlights come from, because he does have those little moments every 10-15 minutes where something's hilarious. But then the most of it's just him talking to himself. He ignores chat. There's too many people. Unless he asks a specific question, and then he sits there and watches chat for an answer.
Right.
But he ignores people, and yeah,
I
highlights
mean,
are definitely better.
Yeah, and you don't blame people that are that big for that. For me, my example would be Stimpy. I don't know if anyone's watched him. He's an Australian guy. He does some Rust videos. And I enjoy his streams, but you get that concentrated high action hit on YouTube. Like back to back, joke, funny moment, joke, and then you watch the stream and you might have to fish a bit to get your funny moments. But I think as well, it's an important thing to think about, because everyone comes to the platform looking for something else, right? Like for me, I come to the platform looking for like social interaction. But not necessarily that's what everyone else comes to the platform for,
Well, for me, I'm almost the opposite, to be honest, because I kind of am there for entertainment. I often will watch streams without the chat open. I may be a niche.
Okay, well, and I mean, who knows?
But
I mean, it's an important thing to
I
consider.
suppose there's a variety. Like when I'm watching a smaller streamer, then usually I'll be a bit more involved. But like you said before, when there's a chat that's just full of crap, what's the point of having it open, really?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard actually what you've said tied into the advice of audio being really important. They're like, so I was watching a bunch of YouTube videos on how to set up OBS, and they're like, make sure you set up your audio like well. It's more important to have better audio than it is to have better video, which I was like, that's an interesting thing to say. Why would you say that?
Yeah, really?
You would think it's a visual thing. And they said that there's such a large... Yeah, but apparently there's such a large demographic of people that this is their background. So they put on like a Twitch stream or something, and they're not even watching it. They're just listening.
Yeah.
And so
It's
it's
playing
Yeah,
a game
yeah.
while it's running on another screen
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah, makes sense.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's a fair call actually, because I do a little bit of that.
So it's got to
Yeah.
sound good, you know, because that's what people are mostly using their senses. They're not watching you
Yeah.
necessarily the whole time. They're just listening to you. Because people will go to like YouTube more often if they're looking for the visual content because they can get what they want right there and then, and without having to maybe wait 10 minutes for something funny to happen. All right. Well, I think that's probably all we're going to do for today for this episode. So we might want to start wrapping it up. But I just want to say thank you to anyone that's made it this far, and thank you to anyone and everyone that's either watched or listened to this podcast.
Yeah.
Let us know if this is something that's interesting to you. We'll include links to all of our socials and our Twitch streams. If you're watching YouTube, it should be above us. And if you're listening to the podcast, we'll include some links in the description. But otherwise, once again, on my left, we have Doctor, which we can find him streaming. What do you have a schedule for when you stream?
Yeah, it's loosely on my Twitch. Weekends if I'm not busy, weeknights if I'm not dead from work. I'll be around. Jump on my Twitter or Discord. I announce when I'm on. It helps.
Yep, fair enough. And same here. So I'm MrMemeNice, and you can find me on Twitter or on Twitch. But yeah, otherwise, I think that just about wraps it up. Did anyone want to say anything sweet? Any sweet
today?
goodbyes? No.
Did you sponsor today?
No.
Raid. No. Okay.
Oh no!
No,
Don't give them any more freebies.
No, oh my god, yeah.
No, our sponsor today is us. We're doing this in our own time and having fun with it. And
if you need me, you'll
guys,
find me.
anyone that's listening, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, you'll find me in the chat of these two. Chances are, I don't have any notable socials at any point at this stage, but we never know. We never know.
Yeah.
That's it. One
and you'll
day
be in our games as well.
might be inspired.
Yeah.
And if anyone's listening is feeling inspired to start Twitch streaming, feel free to reach out to us. We're always happy to hear from people's experiences and share our own experiences and little tidbits of knowledge. We don't pretend to be the experts. We're far from it. We're absolutely novices right now. But
so yeah, speaking of, if you have any tips on anything that we've said that's we could do a bit better, please let us know as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm always on the hunt for better knowledge and more knowledge of everything. Knowledge.
You must have enough fuel units to fulfill your dreams.
God damn it. What have we done?
All right.
So yeah, it was good.
It is good. All right. Well, see you guys next time. Take care.
Will do. Cheers, guys.